Wir alle wissen doch, that the Rebbe doch stark gekocht in Limud Yoni Gula Mashiach. And not just learning on Gula Mashiach, spoiling us bin in a Gula, Machshava bin in a Gula, Tonin din Yoni. So what does that practically mean? What does it mean for a bacher? Obviously, there's learning the Inyanim, and there's Shiurim and Starim, Yoni Gula Mashiach. But what's especially the Oisius that Rebbe uses Oisius of Avodah Chadasha, Zman Chadash, Mokim Chadash. So I want to zoom out a bit from Yoni Gula Mashiach, those words, and a bit speak about the later years, especially from Mem Zayin, Mem Ches, through Nun Beis, Sichos. So in those years, why am I cooking in those years? I'm sure everyone knows the famous Sikha of Purim Tavshim Mem Zayin, where the Rebbe says that a mold, Inyan von Geula, and bringing the Geula was Inyan that was Shaykh to the Nasi Hader, because Nasi Wakel, and now, Zman Achrin, it went from the Nasi Wakel to the Akel. Right, and now it's not only, the Rebbe said, because maybe a mold, inside the Iskashros, it was enough that the Nasi Wakel does it down through the Nasi, his Maile, the Hakel, the Am. But now it has to go actually to the Am. And B'meila, the Chrayis is given over to Yeder Einer. As Yeder Einer, it's slicked of him a presentation Chrayis to bring in the gold. So, now what happened in those years? So a few things happened. Number one, the Rebbe started for bringing that Kufa, Berech, Kimat every Shabbos. Right? First Mem Zayin, wasn't Mamish every Shabbos, Lefyerech every Shabbos, then after Mem Ches, after Chof-Beis, that became the Seder. There was less, and ultimately it stopped the weekday Farbrengens. Besides for the Sichos, the Rebbe would say by the Bimah, which you're able to see and hear, those Sichos. But in general, the Farbrengens were Shabbos. Every Farbrengen every Shabbos. And something very interesting happened, that the Rebbe, by the Farbrengens, Kimat every Farbrengen, especially with the years, later years, Nun-Aleph, Nun-Beis, Kimat every single Farbrengen, there were praktische in Yonim, Maisa Ikir, right? The Rebbe would koch always in Maisa Ikir, but here was Maisa Ikir, the Mamish, another Hayra, another Inyan, another koch, right? And many practical Hayras, just condensed in those few years, maybe, I'm not going to give the exact number, but possibly more than over many years before that, where if a mol, the Rebbe would koch in an Inyan, so there was a new Mivtz or a new Inyan, this went on for months or even years. Here, Mamish, every week, every other week, there was another Inyan, another Maisa, another Mivtza. So there were a lot of these Inyanim. Right, so you had, let's say, in the Tkuf, so Mem Vav, Mem Zayin, the Rebbe kocht in say L'Charab, which then became Chlal the Inyanim Kloliyim of Rabbonim, Mashpim, Roifim, Yedidim Evinim. And then the Rebbe kocht, Mem Ches was a big story about Hakel. It was Kinusim, Akol Askilis, V'chulu. And then in Yud-Aleph, Nun Beis, big story about Mashiach, versteht sich? And Bazei Guf, each week was with another Hadgasha and another Lashon, and Efnin, bringing this Galos, and living Geula, etc., etc. Now, so there are a lot of Inyanim Pratim, but if you zoom out and you look at the general themes that the Rebbe kocht in the later years, you see three general themes, where each one, sometimes they come all in the same Sikha, sometimes they come in different Sikha, some of them are more maybe in this year, some are more in that year, but these are the big themes that come across. So one theme that the Rebbe makes a big kachin is Avodah B'Koyach Atzmei. Right, especially you see this in the Sichos of Parsha Shlach, Parsha Shlach Tavshim Mem Ches, Parsha Shlach Mem Tes, Nun, V'oid, Ba'aloischa, Nun-Aleph, Shaleh V'Seila Me'aleh. See this Nekuda as it's there. I think the Rebbe uses the Lashon there, the Shlach Mem Tes, that it's Avodah Chadasha. The Rebbe calls it Avodah Chadasha. That now Shlach L'cha L'daitcha. Ani Eini Mitzav, right? And now it's not coming L'mayla, not a Tzivim L'mayla. Now the Tachtin himself, the Yid, the Chassid himself, Shlach L'cha L'daitcha Alein Ar Verstehen, and has to figure out what his Shlichus is, what his Avodah is. The lashon the Rebbe used as mishnishte, it's peste kinder. You're not a spoiled child. And now we're not going to tell you everything. You have to figure it out yourself. A person has to choose. He has to be boicher in it. It has to be zainer azach. And that's one thing. Another theme that comes across a lot, especially this went out throughout Tavshin Tes, Tavshin Nun, and then Behemshich was that the Rebbe always goes back to those years. So Tavshin Tes, Tavshin Nun was our boim shana, to the Messias and the Stalkos of the Rebbe Shreir. So one of the Nyonim that the Rebbe constantly speaks about is our boim shnin, ko yin shadayte the Rebbe. And especially the Shabbos, the days leading up to Yud-Shvat Tavshin Nun, so the Rebbe Geret, that it's there, sehept on, also weiter in Chodesh. And what's the avoid of koyin shayte the Rebbe? That now a person has to go out of their own inyonim, out of their own kalim, out of their own hasagis, and koyadayte the Rebbe. Now you have to live your life with the Rebbe's hasagis. The Rebbe then said, first the Rebbe said they should build for 40 years, build 40 new moistus. Then the Rebbe said from Fertzik, the Rebbe said biz elef, so 1,000 moistus. It's a bit of a leap. Usually you go there's from 40 to 60 to 80 to 40 to 1,000. It's like 0 to 60, yeah, 40 to 1,000. Then the Rebbe said, here the Rebbe was saying, then the Rebbe said, as jeder ein is over in an ayam. That was the sprach. That for a boyim shnin, everyone has to become a new moisid. Yeder bacher, yeder younger man, yeder. Every person has to become a new moisid. What's the moisid? The moisid is a daite the Rebbe. Right? It's not. You're not an egin and moisid anymore. You're not. The Rebbe is a moisid. And then the third general theme is Mashiach. Now Mashiach is a very, very big word and a very general word. And so, obviously, in Chayesara, you have the lashon that the shlichus, weiter, the chadasha and yechida, all these things that Rebbe uses the lashon chadash. The kabel pnei Mashiach tzidkeinu. So here's the kabel pnei Mashiach tzidkeinu, lichyes, Ofefen in the Eigen, etc., etc. Right? You went through the Sichas and Aleph Nubeis, you see a lot of these lashonas there. So these are the three general inyanim. First of all, okay, so there's like Vaida from Gimel Kavim. There's like three big things to kachin. Pashas, the Rebbe's kachin and all these inyanim, they're all connected to each other. But also you have to say they're connected to each other because if not, it's like it sounds like it's a shtickle stira. Or on the one hand, we're saying the avoda is shalhebes oila me'olea, right? The avoda is avoda b'koyach atzmei. So it's all about the tachtim. It's all about the chassid. It's all about you, right? It's not about the elyon. On the other hand, you say for keret. Right now, what's the avoda now? Koyadayte the Rebbe. As a yid, his whole mitzias, adafka now, the biggest mitzias, the biggest toikef of a dayte the Rebbe. The biggest is kashrus, the biggest bittul. And that all leads into Mashiach. You can see in the Sikh, especially in Vayetze, that this that we're holding is because we bal merzaynish in our boim shnin. We already have the leiv ladas, inayim lirois was naim lishmoya. So mela altzashen das. We're already here by the Suda. We have the shulchan with the sherbor, the yosem. Everything is here. Everything in the egin is in klara hemshech, the inyan of our boim shnin. So b'pashtus, it's not all one Indian, right? In every sikh, in every shlap, that everyone might say different oasis, different inyan, but it's all one mashmos. And you see this in the chlal by the Rebbe, especially in the sikhs of later years. You see that the Rebbe, one sikh it's more milo, one sikh it's more mata, one sikh it's straight on, but the Rebbe is coming to the same point. And what's the nekuda the Rebbe is being madgish? The nekuda the Rebbe is being madgish is, and this is the chayr what the Rebbe is saying in Chof-Beis Nissen. Right? Ich hab getan als was ich ken, und kein habe tut als was ihr kennt. Also just going through the way the Rebbe says the Sikha, and the way the Rebbe says it, and in the Muggin. So ich hab getan als was ich ken. Okay. So I already did all. So Umelos, what's happening now? Now tut als was ihr kennt. Now do what you can do. Do all you can do. A moment after that, so moisiv zayim was ich ken nachtan in der. Right after the Rebbe says, I did all that I can, and now it's given all over to you. and everything I did was level of so a moment after that, it's Moises never sich kein Nachtan. So what's the stuff that the Rebbe is doing? Machen jeder in Fanei Shliach Avtzon. And then the shlichus is that Tudas was erkennen as the Rabbi Eli Matusof, and the Rebbe says a few in Yanim. Toil became the tikkun. Gefinnen 10 akshonim. There should be 10 akshonim. You need akshonos. And then later the Rebbe says in 2-3 was will neitz geben was du tun wie soll zu tun. Right, so there's toil became the tikkun. There's akshonos, and figure out was du tun wie soll zu tun, what to do and how to do it. What the Rebbe is giving over here an achrayis. Right, the Rebbe is giving over an achrayis. They didn't bring the geula. The Rebbe is giving the koiches. Most of them was kenachton. The Rebbe is making every one of us a shliach of tzedakah, a shliach. And now we should go ahead and bring the geula. So what's actually happening here, right? And what was before, and what's the Rebbe giving over now? They said the Rebbe says very similar issues in Purim and Zayin that there was a weight of the nos, and I was giving it to the akoil. So Ula Yishloimar. There's a sikha, a famous sikha, Chof-Beis Shevat Beis, Mugadige sikha, which has oisius niflois b'yoiser, and the Rebbe there speaks about 3 tkufas, the messias from the Rebbe the Shver. It's very interesting. The Rebbe makes 3 tkufas in history of Klal Yisrael. Right, that's the one 3 tkufas history of Klal Yisrael. So you have like till Bayis Rishon, in the Midbar. Then there's 2 Batei Migdash, and then Zman HaGalos. So there's many ways they could do. Here, it basically ends up being the first kufa is from Sheish Bereshis till Yud-Shvat Tafshin. That's like kufa number 1. The Prat is speaking out the first from Beis Nissen Tafresh Pei till Yud-Shvat Tafshin Yud, but you see the Rebbe gives a bigger context to this. Is basically the avodah until then. Then Yud-Shvat Tafshin Yud, or Yud-Aleph Shvat Tafshin Yud, or Tafshin Yud-Aleph till Chof-Beis Shvat, and then Chof-Beis Shvat till Mashiach comes. And the Rebbe says like this. So the lashon in the sikha there's a lot. It seems to be a lot of lashonis of math. Yeah, there's 10, 11, and then somehow 10 plus 11 equals 22, which is ini b'fnei atzmei. Right, there's Yud Shvat, Yud-Aleph Shvat, and then Chof-Beis, Yud-Aleph Chof-Beis. The Rebbe is much like this. That Yud, the first kufa, is as the tachtin alein reaches his shleimus. The velt is Yud. Yud-Aleph is alikus, so Mailam Mitava. Yud is the Velt, Yud is the Shleimus Oilam, so the Velt comes to its Shleimus, to its perfection. Yud-Aleph is a Gila Likus Shalom Mailam Oilam. They just bring a Gila Likus that completely that transcends and it almost blinds us, right? It consumes Oilam Haza and the Tachtin. And then there's Chof-Beis. Chof-Beis is double Yud-Aleph. It's double Yud-Aleph because it's Mitzad Echad, it's L'Mailam Oilam, Mailam Mitava, it's Choyder, is a deeper, it's like a double Hecher from Velt, that it's so great that it's able to be choider and be Mailo Ilam Haza Alein, the Tachtin Alein. So the Lashonos in the Sikh, the lashon in the Sikh is very somewhat cryptic and very like I said, it's almost like math. But try to give a practical application to it and what we're going to get to these Sikhs. Right. So Yud is still Tafshin Yud. Right, anyone that went through the Mamarim and Sichos of the Frierdiker Rebbe, the Igris. So first of all, there's a tremendous amount of history and Chassidish, right, everything we know from Chassidish, from all the previous Deiros, the Mamarim we have from the Rebbeim, but the Sichos we have from the Rebbeim, and the Zichronis we have from Chassidim, and the whole culture of 6 Deiros we have from the Frierdiker Rebbe Sichos. And the Frierdiker Rebbe Pashat Boita Chassid, right? The Burim and the Sichos are Boita Chassid. What's a Chassid? What does Chassid has to be? So there's a Rebbe, and a Chassid, and the right, the Chassid, so the Rebbe is the Yud-Aleph. As the Rebbe says in the Sikha, that Yud-Aleph Nissen, Yud-Aleph Shvat, from the Nasi. So the Rebbe is Hecher von out. And then there's Chassidim. Chassidim, what's the job of a Chassid? To be a perfect Chassid, to be a Shleimus Ikka Chassid. A Chassid comes to the Rebbe to get the Adracha, how to daven, how to learn, Nigla Chassidus, v'chulu v'chulu. So that's Yud, Shleimus and Yud. Then starts a Naya Derech, a Naya Avoid, a Naya Inyan, which is Yud-Aleph. Yud-Aleph is Hecher from Welt. Right? The Rebbe comes on, that's in B'yoim, as the Rebbe says, there's different stages till Yud-Aleph, Shvat, Tafshin Yud-Aleph, Ibasi Lugani, Verbringen. And the Rebbe says, okay, the Chevre, Arab bringing the Shechina Lamatra to bring the Geula. And this is what we're going to do. And pretty much from then on, the Seder for the next few dozen years or few decades was Yud-Aleph, right? So the Rebbe's, the Anasi, and Nem Dain de Welt, and the Yud, in this context, the Chassid is Nichlal in the Seder Reinu, is Nichlal in the Rebbe. Follow the Kabbalah Sale, the Bittul, and go out on Shlichus, do the Heroes, do the Mivtzoyim, right? In the Chof Slamids, Mivtzoyim came about, and then bigger stuff, Sheva Mitzvahs in the Mems, Rambam, bigger and bigger stuff. In I never developed. And talking in those years, we found the Gedelos V'Nitzuris, unbelievable thing. But then, we especially see this in the Mems, and with the years, in the later Mems, the Nuns more and more, here the Rebbe gemont that now it's not enough the Yud-Aleph, now it has to be Chof-Beis. What's the difference between Yud-Aleph and Chof-Beis? Yud-Aleph is, there's Yud-Aleph, right? There's a Nasi, there's a Likus. And the Welt, starting from the Chassidim and then extending from them to the entire world, is Geit Nach, right? It's almost like we're being dragged along. There was once a Sikha, the Rebbe said, the Rechem and Zakkai said, any day Beis Derech Melichin Oisi, right? So we know the famous beer in Chassidus, any day Beis Derech Melichin Oisi, Rechem and Zakkai was the biggest tzaddik, he didn't know. So there's different beer. One in the Kudus is, Rechem and Zakkai Taka, everything was amazing outside of the Shleimus. There's two. Number one is that until the last minute, he was so busy with the Shlichus, right? This is the part of the Siyam Shekela. He was so busy doing his Shlichus, he didn't have time. He didn't have time to think about his name in the month. So only at the last moment, he had to make a judgment. But a deeper beer is, and they connect to each other, a deeper beer is, Rabbi Eli Matusof, he would ask him how his Giluyim are, they're perfect. But how's his Etzem and Nefesh? Who knows? People have dark secrets. Who knows what's going on with his Etzem and Nefesh? So the Rebbe said, Rabbi Eli Matusof, gesagt, in der Beis Derech Melichin Oisi. Aber a Chassid von der Seder Reinu ist befeirisch, jeder Beis Derech Melichin Oisi. Geht doch auf ein Wagon von der Seder Reinu. You're going to the Rebbe's wagon. Where are we going? We know exactly where we're going. We're going after the Rebbe. Aber sof, it was in a Nekuda, where to use the lashon of Chavches Nisim, Mepnei Atzivoy. Right? Mepnei Atzivoy. But here, the Rebbe mont epes asach tifer. That now there's this chibur of Yud and Yud Aleph. Right now, there's the same nasi, the same shlichus, and nachmer, the shlichus is doch meise v'hoilech mishana l'shana, or noch starker. But now it's not enough just to follow. Now it's koya daite the Rebbe. Right now, as the Rebbe said, the Rebbe Pamim, it's our boim shnin, and now we have so many heroes and sichos and amorim and igris. The igris started being printed then, and Zion. The Rebbe's letters, minus. There's so much of the Rebbe's Torah available that now the lashon the Rebbe uses chushia tal menasu chushia rav. And now it's not only following and loif noch, megeit noch, mitan stuff in Rebbe's Wagon. Now you're actually you're present. You're part of it. You're right. You buy in. It's not only batel etzoincha and pnei etzoini. It's atzeir etzoincha etzoini. So you have here a few points. Number one is kohen shdei tederem. It's mamish just a pastor zach. In order to do that, it's not enough just to hear and go and do it, which maybe it was enough back in the day. But now it's pasha a sense of buying in. Buying in, you pasha have to. The Rebbe gave more than 40 years of Torah, and now with pasha medarf sich aufleben und weken sich. In Divrei Arav, another sikha, more, not just another sikha, another maimer, another letter. It's pasha buying in, right? Turning this into your perspective, into your Havana. The lashon known is it's there. Edzach was learned them with the derech halimud from the siddur. Right? This becomes the way you think. What happens then is that now this leads straight into avodah b'koyach atzmi. Right? Avodah b'koyach atzmi pasha is like one second. One hand, you're saying that a person is constantly learning the Rebbe's Torah. Mitzad sheni, you're saying a person figures it out on their own. So which one? But it's one and the same. In order to figure, when you don't know someone's derech hamachshava and derech halimud and the way they look at things, so you have the zach different fragen. The fragen turn to the right, turn to the left, brush my teeth. Should I do laundry today? Right? Every single thing has to be asked. It was a minus that Ad must say that every prat you have to ask. But think about the first shluchim. They didn't have any context. They didn't know any. There was no basis. they started out of nothing. So every single thing they needed clear adracha and guidance what to do in this moment. You hear the Rebbe says, no, now there's so much there, there's so much available that now through learning enough, you yourself can figure out was matne von dir. Because then what happens mit amol? Something's going on. I can't find a clear sikha, and I can't find a clear mind. I can't find a clear letter. So if it's all about hearing a direct eitza and hadracha and hear so there I didn't get. But if it's a shitta, if it's a derech, so then the derech has infinite there's infinite espashtos, and you could bring it and apply it in the whole Indian in other Indian in Lebanon. Rosh Hashanah, we get to Mashiach now. The Galus is in the Nesider, what's Rosh the Nesider in Elul, in Yud-Aleph, Nesider Einish in his Galavar and Mechol HaTeikif, right? Chayisara, that the Shlichus of Mashiach Shebedeinu Shenang Geheben. We already have the Shreira Bar, the Yanim, all these different Lishoynes. What's the Rebbe saying? I'm not saying this is Kabir. There's obviously many pratim here, but one thing the Rebbe is saying here, the Nasi went all out. All the Inyanim that the Nasi represents, and the Nasi comes with the Torah, with the Ashkafa, with the Heroes, with the Eitzis, the other Indian, right? Sheif Tayich, Yetzayich, in the Vios. It's all here. It was all given. It was all here. And now what? The einzige Sache is geblieben is lekabel pnei Mashiach tzedkin. Right? Mitzad ha'elyon, it's all here. Now what we need, at the tachtin, the Aved v'kei now that we need the tachtin, or in Lashon the Vata Tetzaveh, the Vata Tetzaveh is b'shleimus. Now we need the v'yikro elecha. The v'yikro elecha, that now the chassid, now the tachtin, the person himself, has all the kalim, all the eiris and kalim were given to him. And now he could internalize it and apply it and figure and use it. So again, the whole rega v'rega, it's that's the einzige Sache was geblieben. But now the Rebbe becomes a chelik from Yederein. The Mashiach is not just Mashiach HaKloli, it's the Mashiach HaPrati, it's Nitz Mashiach. Everyone's about Nitz Mashiach Shebesoichoi. Right. This is so that's Chof-Beis. So the Chof-Beis is that now Yederein can open a shaychus. And now everybody is able to bring it into themselves. Fine, that's the general nikud. Now, Megillah Maisa, I think is also a passion to for a bacher today. And there's many times you could look and say the Maisa, and I'm not here to be memayet any hergish and any chesar and mechulu, but it's important to understand this. The Rebbe cooked of them that. Is it the same way where there would be a direct minor or a letter or a hira at the moment or a sikh on Shabbos? That's not the way. Then it's not the way it's begoli al kaponim now. There's an ibn going on, but it's not to say there. But mitzacheni, the avodah now, and this the Rebbe says this is dafka the last shlav, and this is the shlav of kabbalas me'mashiach tzedkenu, or that the tachtin himself becomes part of it. Is that now the access that a bacher has now, the access that a yid has now. To the Rebbe's Torah and Hadracha, and it's unprecedented. Remember back in certain sikhs, certain minds, certain things, until you found it, until it existed somewhere. Today, everything's available. Everything is Keshulchan Aruch, and Uvemela. So it's not just about another sikh and another maimer. You're able to sit and spend the time and build a Weltanschung, right? Build a kav, a shkafa. You mashana your life, and that's the ultimate union of Mashiach, and that's the tachlis, and that's later that's the Rebbe's koch. As Yedereina vert a Mashiach tekayid, megala the Mashiach shebesayich, the geula shebesayich, the whole rega v'rega, and as the lashon the Rebbe used by Midbar, the union of geula, it's the union of menucha, right? The menucha, where does a person find menucha? When a person where there's not a ribu inyon, there's so much going on, there's so many different things happening, even in Yiddishkeit, you have so many different mitzvahs. But there's ritzoyin avich when you have a kav, when you have a derech, when you have a shkafa, so then it's ritzoyin avich, it's one rotz and it's one union, and that brings a person to menucha, chayiv pratim, chayiv klolim. Okay, I could hack on, but whatever. I think I just want to say I was just today was Ramoshe Yehuda's yard site, and I worked with him on a few projects, Bichlal and Efrat Inyoni Mashiach, B'Shanim Achreinis. And I could say that even in Inyan, especially was Megeret, it's there. I saw by him this Inyan, Pashat Nemin the Rebbe's Inyanim, Pashat real, and not sit around waiting for the Rebbe to come to you and tell you this and that. Based as Avtzon da, and the Rebbe gave it to us, and now Pashat go and run with it on I Nemin developed. So a Bacher, there's a Bacher's Avodah, and some of you are going to go on Shlichus soon, maybe. I don't know which you're on Shlichus, and then Yadayin B'Fi and Yonei. We have it all, and Pashit, it's Rebbe is washing dollars. I'm cashing in, right? Cash it. Or I Nemin developed.